everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those that are joining us for the first time, welcome. And those that have been walking with us this whole journey, the entire time, I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. So recently, I was speaking to my mom on the phone, and then my mom mentions to me and says that they were having a discussion with my dad. And my dad said that I'm very difficult these days. I'm either unavailable or broke. Yeah? And it got me thinking about a very, very pertinent issue that you and I need to talk about: boundaries. I've always been the kind of person that is available for every call from my parents. Oh, we need you to do this. And I'm running around like a headless chicken. Oh, we need you to pick up the girls from school, my siblings. And I'm available. Oh, we need this, we need that, we need the other. And it was just a whole long process. Like, no offense to my parents, they are my parents. But I believe that we Africans have grown up in a sense of where we feel so much obligation to treat our parents a certain way. We feel like because these are our parents, we have a certain responsibility to them. And to some extent, we do. But where do you draw the line? Where do you realize that, Daddy, I love you very much, but this is what I can do, and I cannot do the other. So for a very, very long time, I lived with my parents, even through campus. I was commuting from home. So for me, there was really no, she went out, she experienced freedom, she knows what it's like to live alone. And somehow, because you're still living under your parents' roof, you feel obligated to do certain things for them. You feel like, yeah, they're my parents, they're paying rent, they're giving me food. So you will do everything they ask you to do because you're under their roof. And then I left home maybe about 2 years ago. And suddenly, because you're out of that space, because you're out of that environment, it suddenly hits you that you need to take care of yourself first. But because you're used to a certain norm, and also the people you've been dealing with are used to a certain norm, it kind of becomes a struggle for each and every one to move away from that norm. And so that brings me to our topic today, which is boundaries. A boundary is a limit or space between you and the other person, a clear place where you begin and the other person ends. Why do I think it's important for us to have boundaries? So that we then don't burn out. I've been at a place in my life where I'm at a crossroad. I want to make my dad happy. I want to make my friends happy. My boss needs to be smiling at all times. I need to commit to church ministry and commit fully. And somehow, you actually burn out. You get stressed. You feel like you're obligated to do so many things to please everyone. And you're not looking at yourself first as a person. So boundaries are really, really important, one, for establishing one's identity, but they are also very crucial for our mental health and mental well-being. And why do I say this? Because then the pressure of wanting to fulfill obligations or things you've promised to do. I used to be a yes person. And away from my parents, even my friends, I went for every trip, every function, kwanjula, wedding, I don't know what, wedding meeting, I would be there. Kasiki, I was really, really involved in my friends' lives. If it was that we are collecting money for a certain cause, so and so, this, we need to collect money, you send money. Mavugo, you send. Wedding contribution, you send. I don't know who, someone borrows money, you give. And then suddenly, maybe 10 days from payday, you are so broke. And when you sit back, you've actually just been dishing out money and forgetting that ultimately at the end of the day, you need to take care of yourself. So I've learned over time that I need to set boundaries. and healthy boundaries. But how do we set boundaries? We need to communicate. I'm not saying be harsh. It's okay to say yes. It's okay to say no. Say yes when you know that it's not going to burn you out. Say yes when you know that it's not going to drain you. If a friend calls you up, for example, and says, "Oh, Atai, please lend me 1,000,000 shillings," and you know that on your account you're only left with 1,000,000 shillings, it's okay to tell your friend that, "Hi, I really understand what you're going through, and I really wish I could be of much help, but currently I'm only able to give you 300,000. You don't have to explain why. It's just what you can do at that time." So I used to be the person who would even borrow from my friends to lend to another friend in need, and then I bear the burden. So imagine I'm putting myself in debt for you, yet I could actually allow myself to live within my means and say, this is my limit, or this is the boundary I'm drawing, this is how much I can give you, and then probably you'll go and figure it out with someone else and things like that. We often ask ourselves how we can apply boundaries, or the different places in which we can apply boundaries. And from my experience, some of the things that I've learned to do is, one, like with my family, is set boundaries. And I will be clear with my dad and say, "Daddy, sorry, I can't probably pick up my brother from school because I have a work meeting." Previously, I would probably go create like an excuse to my boss and say, "Oh, I need to be off work at this time because of this, and this." Yet at the end of the day, I also need the job to be able to pay my bills. So you just really need to tell people when you can and when you cannot. And of course, being a firstborn, it's really been hard. Like, there's all this pressure from your relatives, from even your siblings. They feel like because you're the elder one, you're obligated to do certain things for them. There is a term when I told my siblings that I wouldn't be doing any visitation, and that was for all of them, so that then there was a balance and there wouldn't be talk of, "Oh, she visited the other one and didn't visit me," because I knew that I didn't have time that particular term to see any of them. So I just told them, "I will not be able to visit you, but call your parents, let them come." And my parents did. Yet previously, because they knew I was available, my parents were not going for VD. We also need to draw boundaries in our friendships. I've probably been there. I've seen friends go out till 6 a.m. even when you know that your bedtime probably is 10. Like, where do you draw the boundary? When do you say, I've had enough for the night and now I'm going home, I really need to rest? Because you know your body needs a rest. Money, how do you spend your money? Who do you lend to? Who don't you lend to? What do you buy for yourself? What don't you buy? You could even have self-discipline and say, this month or every month I won't spend more than maybe 200,000 on new outfits and things like that. That's a boundary that you're setting for yourself so that you probably don't go bankrupt spending impulsively. I'm an impulsive shopper, so I know what it can mean when I just walk into a boutique and suddenly I want everything that I see rather than the one dress that I went looking for. But also work. Even in our workplaces, it's also okay to draw boundaries. Like, if I'm on leave, I expect that when I'm on leave, I am on leave and I'm not going to open my laptop at any point to do any work. Like, if you've decided to take days off to rest, take the days off to rest. It could also mean that maybe you keep your personal life out of your work life. That is a boundary that you can draw. I know that there are always times that people feel the need to get involved, and yes, it's okay to know that I probably have a husband, children, maybe I stay in this and this place for security, for getting to know each other, but the whole meddling and probably wanting to tell your life or everything that happens in your household can be a boundary that you draw and say, yeah, my husband is fine, but that's it. Like, I'm not going to say any more about that particular scenario. It could also be in in our romantic relationships, like in every sphere of life or every aspect of life, it's very possible for you to choose boundaries that are healthy for your well-being, for your mental health, for your physical being, so that you are taking care of yourself first rather than looking to fulfill other people's needs. It burns you out, and while it's a very hard thing to do, you can do it. You can start small, but also you can start with those things that affect you the most. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have a comment, feel free to drop it and let's have a conversation about the same. If you have an experience, do the same as well. Remember to like my channel, to share it, but also click the subscribe button so that you get updates every time that a new video is uploaded. Thank you and have yourselves a lovely day.